Welcome to IBIS Weather. This is your host, Sarah. This is February 27th, 2026. I do apologize for my absence from this past week. If you guys do not follow me on Facebook, you would not know that I accidentally logged out of my Google account. And because of that, I was having a hard time getting back in, which I have been able to do that successfully now. So that is good news. So I am back. I did take a few days after that just to kind of um, recuperate from the stress of that. Plus, work has been keeping me pretty busy, so I did take a little time off. I should be back, and we do have a severe weather threat to actually talk about, which is right on time since Sunday is March 1st, which is technically the beginning of meteorological spring, which will, of course, always mean severe weather threats, especially as I mentioned in previous videos in the past month. I do anticipate we will have a particularly nasty spring just because of the nature of how strong our cold fronts have been this past winter. And then, of course, with the Gulf being quite warm and abnormally warm even now, again, referred to in past videos, obviously that will make for a nasty particular spring season. And it does look like that we might be getting a very first real taste of that coming up later on this next week. So let's go ahead and get started. Right now, we are looking at the current watch warning and advisory display. We don't see a whole lot. We do see some winter and red flag advisories mostly right now going on. So not super colorful or super bad, not like what we saw obviously in the month of January, which is good news, but still enough to impact for quite a few people, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and take a look at the live radar. As we do see, we do have some snow over there in Montana, the Dakotas, and across Lake Superior over there into Ontario, a little bit over there by Ottawa and New England, Mid Atlantic, and then the rain that has gone on for the southeast coast pretty much all day off and on, starting from last night, is now pushing off most of offshore, except right now, kind of sitting over north central Florida currently. It's making its way further south and east. Let's go ahead and take a look at what the GFS models are showing. So this is showing for 6 o'clock today. As you can see, it does show obviously the rain and showers that were going on over there in the southeast, pushing offshore. This one isn't really showing what we're seeing. The snow is kind of sitting on over here in the Intermountain West and to the Northern Plains. But we do see snow over there by Lake Superior, of course, and a little bit over there by the edge of New England. Let's go forward. Continue to see this chance of rain and uh, or precipitation, obviously kind of pushing diagonal across the northern part of the country. Um, See a little bit of chance of rain and showers, obviously in early March from March Sunday, March 1st into March 2nd. So it does look like it's possible that Kansas, southern Iowa, northeast Nebraska, and Missouri might be having some particularly heavy rain. We see some rain over there in California, kind of northwest Pacific. Then we'll also linger a little bit over into the Intermountain West. But our main event that we're going to be talking about will actually be, well, they're thinking March 4th, which will be Wednesday. However, I'm thinking the timing might change, and I'll kind of get more into that why right now. So if we do look at the GFS, it does show for midnight on March 4th. We do see shower activity across the Mid Atlantic and a little bit into New England, and then going across the Midwest into the Central Plains. And we do see kind of that classic squall line trying to possibly form over here by noon on Wednesday. And we see that continues to form off and push into, including into Thursday, and then kind of push off, breaks apart, and then we see sort of a second round over Friday forming over that area, but not maybe quite as impressive um, as what the March 4th. And it looks like next Saturday we might also be dealing with some more possible severe activity into Sunday. So it's definitely look like we're starting to shape up to see a possibly a strong to decent kickoff of severe weather. March is kind of still early in that You'd get your really a lot of your worst of it in April and May, of course. So it's starting a little bit earlier, but we know we did kind of go into winter a little bit earlier. And it looks like we might be starting into spring a little bit earlier, so it's probably within reason to think that we might see a more active spring in March. And continue on, you do see some more showers and rain again, kind of the southern plains, of course, being the hotbed as always. Um, so again, if you kind of see the GFS, it's just kind of showing just continuous activity forming over there for the next few weeks. Again, this is just a particular model runs. This is not the actual current forecast. However, it is worth noting that the SPC has already kind of noted that March 4th is possibly a day where we might start seeing some severe weather. The indicators are already kind of signifying that, which we'll kind of get more into in the next few windows going forward, obviously. So there is reason to believe that something could, form. How powerful, how strong, exactly where in the Southern Plains, we just don't know. But it does look like we're starting to shape up to have an active spring already. Let's go ahead and look at the Euro um, over here. So again, this was actually shown at 3 o'clock today. Um, So this one does show a little more of an accurate thing than the GFS. No surprise or shocker there for those of you who follow the weather. This one's not really showing much over this weekend in terms of precipitation, which is good news. Let's see what it shows once we get into Tuesday. We'll start seeing more in the Midwest, kind of having more shower activity going over there a little bit into the Mid Atlantic. Come Wednesday, we start seeing that again, more of that classic squall line trying to form along the front of storms, um, going throughout Wednesday and lingering a little bit into the Ohio, Mississippi valleys Thursday, and then another round again over the weekend, more that following week. So again, this one is indicating again would definitely might be seeing a more active spring and more chances of severe weather. It looks like this one is showing an impressive line actually, forming a week from this upcoming Tuesday or Wednesday, I should say, March 11th. That one going clear across the East Coast and lingering into, of course, early Friday the 13th, which is March the 13th. So definitely something to know. Again, these are just models, these are not the forecast. No one, the SPC is not noting anything else about other days of severe weather other than the fact that, yes, Wednesday, March 4th, we may have some. So I'm not trying to scare you guys into thinking about the future right now, but again, is noting that March 4th will be a day to keep an eye on. We do have plenty of days leading up to kind of for them a pinpoint. Hopefully, they'll send their weather balloons up to get more information about the atmosphere. We can try to put together a better um, outlook and a better forecast for that day. But right now, it's just currently we know the risk is there already. The signs of that. And again, seeing these model runs, it does seem to hint that we may be starting off to an active spring already with thunderstorms. How severe will these get? We just don't know. Cape is already, which we'll get a little bit more into a little bit later, is already kind of showing some stronger things. If you remember, I think it was uh, almost 2 weeks ago, if not 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the Cape values and how they already was showing a little bit on the higher side for some areas, and that seems to be kind of what we're seeing is going to happen for Wednesday to I would say Tuesday to Thursday of next week, really. So it's just something to continue to monitor and wait. So we will have to see. Of course, it doesn't just take Cape values, which is the instability in the atmosphere. It also takes wind shear, which again does look like there might be some wind shear. So again, it's hard to predict these kind of things. You kind of have to wait and to see until the storms actually form and enter that environment to really see what happens. But it is interesting nonetheless to see what the indicators are showing. It does look like my prediction is just starting to be correct, at least in terms of a more active spring. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Cape values, obviously. Let's see, this one is the GFS, and we have this setting at um, Wednesday at 11 a.m. So again, the SPC is noting particularly that Southern Plains will have the highest and greatest chance of severe weather come Wednesday evening, Wednesday night. So we are starting kind of right before noon here for that. As you can do see, we do have some colorful convection going on over here. So we have things going into kind of the reds and oranges, which is not good, for sure. So, and again, anywhere from, I would say, like just for outside of Tulsa, all the way down into Texas Triangle, and then a little bit over there into Missouri and Illinois and Indiana, of course, as well. So we'll have to kind of wait and see what that is. Let's go ahead and see going forward on that day. The GFS is showing this one. Let's see what time stamp this would be for. This would be 6 p.m. So you start seeing it dying out a little bit. It's kind of starting to push it more east, leaning more heavily to the east here. The other one you saw it definitely kind of having more of the yellows over here. You do see up the north, it is kind of breaking down more. And then also getting a little bit weaker there into the Texas Triangle area, which is not unusual. It is typical for that to happen when you do have the sun go down. Instability a lot of times does kind of peter out and die out, which is good news. That's why if you ever hear people refer to when you're having severe weather or a thunderstorm, you don't really want to see the sun out during that day, just because that causes more instability in the atmosphere. So this is why they say you don't want to see that when that happens, but that's also why you do typically see the threat dying off more in the evening, because you just don't have the sun out anymore, causing that trouble. Let's go ahead and look at I believe this is the Euro, or no, this is the Icon, isn't it? Yes, this is Icon. So here we're starting at, hold on, let me scroll down a little bit more. It's Thursday at 3 p.m. So you can see this one's showing the threat kind of lingering into Thursday here. Again, more of the oranges and the reds, definitely again from like Oklahoma City through Dallas into Austin, right outside of San Antonio, um, and just kind of a lower risk generally across the kind of the Dixie Alley. Um, and then this one again is the Euro. Is this one? No, that's GFS one here. Okay. Oh, that was for Thursday. Okay, that makes sense. I apologize. This is the Euro for the same time frame. Again, they run a little bit differently, so the hours are a little bit off here. This is for 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock Wednesday. You definitely see the highest risk over here, being more over there from Tennessee through Arkansas and Louisiana and into eastern Texas. Dallas being on the lesser uh, values here. So which one will win? I don't know, but it is worth noting. If we look at the Thursday one at 7 a.m., we do see again, you start having a little bit, you have more cake values over here by the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida, and then of course into Louisiana and southern Texas, into a little bit of central west Texas as well. And then a little bit over there, kind of in the Ohio Valley as well. We'll have to kind of wait and see what happens with that, obviously. So we do see that the models are kind of showing different runs and different levels of where the cape will be most unstable, and then of course timing of this. So we're kind of seeing it starting from anywhere from really Tuesday until Thursday. So that would be March 3rd through to March 5th. We'll have to wait and see. I do think March 4th is probably the highest chance of right now, but the timing of some of these models and seeing some of the cape values, it will be curious to see what it will be like going forward and what the SPC starts putting out regarding those, because it is showing possibility of um, again, not something I would call a major outbreak. I would say maybe a little bit of a higher chance of severe weather this go around than what we had last time, just because the Cape values are appearing to be a little bit higher. Again, these are just model runs. We'll have to wait and see what comes the day of and what the current Cape values are. And of course, will the sun break out in those areas, etc., and where the areas that they think are the greatest risk. That's still yet to be determined, but we are definitely seeing the potential there right now. I think I might have one more of the Cape value model runs to go through, correct? And no, this is for the bulk shear, which is again the other half of the thing that you might need. And the good news here, it's not showing to be as powerful as compared to like over there in Canada. So as we can see here, this is for March 4th at 12 p.m. Do you see a little bit more over there? Again, kind of from Iowa into Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and then Texas, a little bit into New Mexico. So we'll have to kind of monitor that and see what happens, but they're not super high values. Again, this is just one model run. This is the GFS for it. So let's go and see what the next one shows. This is for March 4th, that Wednesday at 3 p.m. We start seeing it kind of die out a little bit more and get more of a lift of that over there into the mid Atlantic and then, of course, the mid west. So we'll have to wait and see. We do see a little bit of instability a little bit further south over there in southwest Texas. Of course, time will tell on that. And again, this is the GFS. Let's go and look at the next one. This is the euro for 12 noon on March 4th. So kind of similar to what we saw with the euro again. So we'll kind of wait and see what happens on that. But again, nothing super strong. And then kind of dying out again come, yeah, 6 p.m. on Wednesday. Is that Wednesday or Thursday? Yes, it's Wednesday. So again, not as strong as you see up there in Canada or even starting to enter into the West Coast a little bit. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But again, I don't think it's necessarily a major outbreak. Is it a bit more of a risk, I would say, this time than last time? Yes. Of course, these model runs will change between now and then. So we'll see what happens. And of course, uh, hopefully they get more information on the atmosphere and the cold front and, where the trough could form, which will also help kind of give a little bit more of oomph into the storm systems to kind of have this severe line of storms form. So it's just kind of too early right now, but it is worth noting that, you know, be out on the lookout for that, find out more information, stay tuned to a trusted weather source to get information on this, and we shall see what happens as we get closer to Wednesday. And then this one is, oh yeah, supercell composite parameter. So this basically again is just kind of showing us a little bit of where the models are thinking that we may have a chance of seeing where the storms are. So this is where the timing gets a little bit more interesting. This one is the GFS. We're looking at Tuesday at 3 p.m. and we start seeing those colors fill in a little bit more. Interestingly enough, if we actually go straight to Tuesday at 8 p.m. We definitely see more again, kind of over there from Wichita down to Dallas and a little bit over there by San Antonio, just outside of the Houston area, where we see a little bit more of the greater risk. Again, nothing super crazy. I mean, the highest here looks to be between 8 and 4. Um, so that's good, but still, definitely you don't want to see that for anywhere. And then if we actually look at for the following uh, day, which would be Wednesday at 12 noon. This one does show weakening significantly and kind of going more into the Midwest. So again, I am curious to see what the timing will be as the SPC kind of continues to do their research and read the models, sample the atmosphere, and figure it out. So I am thinking right now the SPC is thinking Wednesday will be the main day. I would give more wiggle room from anywhere, possibly seeing severe weather firing up, possibly from Tuesday afternoon until Thursday morning. So those are the time frames I would be weather alert. Again, you don't necessarily need to be told that you have a risk of severe weather. I mean, if the conditions are right and the storm is wanting to do it, it can always do a brief spin up. I know that has happened not far from where I live a couple of years ago, in fact. So it does happen. But I do think the greatest risk again is right now is Wednesday. Time will tell for sure. Of course, the models will change. We'll get more information throughout this weekend into early next week for that. But I do think it's worth noting that these are areas that we should be looking at anywhere from the Southern Plain. I would say even, from possibly from Colorado down to New Mexico, even should be paying attention. Of course, Illinois needs to be paying attention, Missouri, Arkansas, even maybe Western Tennessee as well, just because, again, we can't quite pinpoint yet where it is and the timing of it yet, but time will tell. We will find out. So, just anywhere from those areas, I would say pay attention to be on the safe side. And let's go ahead and look at about winter weather. So as we are starting to transition more into spring, I do think, I know, the New England and the Mid-Atlantic definitely had more snow this past weekend, unfortunately, and a massive storm. So hopefully that'll be the last round that we see, but there is still a chance of some snow accumulating. So if we look at the 24-hour probability for Sunday, it does look like we have snow that's they're pretty certain will fall over there in the Dakotas into a little bit over there into Wisconsin and Minnesota. And then, of course, by the Great Lakes, a little bit into Michigan, and then right over there by Maine on the edge. So that is fun. And then we do watch it kind of move around. So again, later on Sunday, again, you see that happening. Let's go ahead and look at March 2nd. And then we do see that kind of goes over there and more into across the Great Lakes region and into New England. So this one they are showing more about anywhere from probably like 75 to 50% for some areas, obviously, for snow of more than an inch. And then if we look, so at Tuesday at midnight, we do see a little bit more snow over there. Again, kind of south of Michigan, so Indiana, Ohio, and Illinois, and then also a little bit over there in Iowa and Missouri as well. You have a less chance there, obviously, anywhere from like 5% probably up into 25 to 30% there. And then we do see a little bit of snow. Again, kind of a low chance there for the Intermountain West. So again, what are the main talking points for today? Okay, let's go ahead and look at this. Again, supercell composite parameter. Um, I would say yes, there's a chance of severe weather. Does this chance look like it might be a little bit more stronger or powerful or the potential to be that come Tuesday into Thursday? Yes. Again, Wednesday is kind of the main time frame we're thinking, but some of the modeling is showing, I think, the potential that it could expand into Tuesday evening and afternoon into Thursday morning for some areas. Again, we're entering March, we're entering meteorological spring. It does look like the models are hinting that we're going to see it's kind of be more of a weekly event. Again, not surprising, not shocking. It happens. But right now, again, it doesn't look like a super major outbreak, which is good news, but you should be weather aware. I would say, again, anywhere from the southern plains should be paying attention starting Tuesday into Thursday morning, and then anywhere kind of east of that should be paying attention probably Thursday into Friday. However, right now it does look like that the conditions are not favoring for a severe weather outbreak for the southeast, which is good news. Can it change between now and then? Yes. Time will tell. Again, the greatest risk will be in the southern plains, of course, but again, not a major outbreak. Just be weather aware. Follow a source that you can trust. I will continue posting updates down here and as well on my Facebook. My Facebook is linked in on my homepage for my channel. Of course, feel free to subscribe, like, and comment to let me know where you guys are located. And we'll continue to monitor and kind of fine tune what the forecast will likely be and what to, look out for. I think again, I should note that the greatest risk right now looks to be of hail and wind, not super tornadic outbreak. Again, I will say some of the Cape values that the models are showing are a little bit concerning. So I don't want to say that tornadoes are not likely. Again, we'll have to kind of wait and see. Again, these are just the model runs; these are not necessarily a forecast. So to wait and see, of course, for that. But again, with us entering into March, I do think it's reasonable to expect that, even if there isn't great threat of tornadoes, it could happen an occasional storm or two come in the middle of this week. And then, of course, going forward, I do think we will see our severe weather threats increase going out throughout the rest of the month of March. So thank you guys for watching. I will post some more updates later on this week, and I will talk to you guys later.